CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the San Francisco 49ers against the New Orleans Saints.
We are live at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, as the New Orleans Saints, off to the best start in their history, go against the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are 4-2, tied for first in the NFC West along with the LA Rams. This is Dick Stockton along with Wayne Walker, and you're looking at Morten Andersen, the hero of last week's game for the Saints. And Bill Ring and Dana McLemore are deep for the opening kickoff. Anderson's field goal with no time remaining gave the Saints their fourth win in 6 games, both teams with identical records.
I think they're calling this game the biggest game in 4 years down here for the Saints in New Orleans. Looking back to a game against the Oakland Raiders on a Monday night when Ken Stabler was then playing quarterback for the Oakland Raiders.
It's Mardi Gras in October. Some 4,000 fans greeted the Saints when they came back from Atlanta. You're going to hear a lot of this crowd today. We have a sellout as the kickoff goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the 49ers will take it out at the 20. So taking a look at the NFC Western Division, the Saints, the 49ers, and the Rams. In quite a race, all 4-2. Atlanta brings up the rear at 2-4. Now let's take a look at the 49ers offense. Joe Montana. Wendell Tyler is back. He's been out several weeks with a dislocated left shoulder. Bill Ring is the fullback, and Dwight Clark and Freddie Solomon the familiar wide receivers. And the fine offensive line. Harris, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, and Fonhorst, and Russ Francis starting at tight end. 1st and 10 at the 20. Play action, and Montana gets it off to Wendell Tyler, who holds onto the ball at the 24-yard line to pick up a 4, and Jim Kovacs, the inside linebacker, makes the tackle. Taking a look at the Saints defense, Bruce Clark, Derlin Moore, and Jim Wilkes up front, ranked number 4 overall in the NFC. Ricky Jackson, Kovacs, who made the tackle, Dirt Winston, and Whitney Paul, the linebackers, Dave Waymer, Johnny Poe, Russell Gary, and Frank Watlett in the secondary. Saints' strength is on defense and a running attack on offense. 2nd down, 6. And here's Tyler. And Tyler stops short of a first down by 1.5 yards. Wendell Tyler, who was injured in the Atlanta game, and the big concern of Bill Walsh.
Well, I think that what they're doing right now is getting him involved in the game right away. He hasn't had contact in over 2 weeks. He practiced all week, starting right out from Monday, but they want to get him adjusted again to getting hit. And so he has handled the ball on the first 2 plays.
And Walsh told us yesterday that the one fear he has, because he hasn't played, is the fumbling factor. 3rd down and 1 at the 29. And here is Wendell Tyler. He has the first down as he found a hole off the right side, brings it out to the 35. The strong safety Russell Gary made the tackle, a 6-yard pickup for Tyler, who was born in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And watch Russell Gary, number 20, come over and make a saver. Tyler breaks it here. A good block by Russ Francis on Ricky Jackson to pave the way. And Gary was there. Tyler had big yardage.
Wendell was looking for a 100-yard game for the 3rd consecutive contest when he was injured against the Falcons. Bill Walsh on the sidelines. 1st and 10 at the 35. Montana under pressure. He gets it away to Eason Ramson, the tight end, who makes the play just short of the 40-yard line. The right cornerback, Johnny Poe, makes the stop. Eason Ramson in his 5th year and was the 3rd tight end on the Super Bowl team.
Double tight ends for the 49ers now. Blitz right there, number 56, Dirt Winston in with a hand on Montana, but as he does so well, improvised and gets it out to Eason Ramson.
Kovacs almost got a hand on that pass. It'll be a pickup of 4, 2nd and 6 at the 39. 49ers at 4-2, the same record they had in their Super Bowl year 2 years ago. And the pitch to Tyler. He's got blockers, but the Saints converge, and Tyler is stopped at the 41-yard line by Ricky Jackson and Dave Waymer. So no question that they want Tyler to get into the flow early, Wayne.
They want to establish the run because they definitely didn't have it last week. Wendell Tyler is so important to them. Bill Walsh said playing without Tyler for his offense is is tantamount to Dallas playing without Tony Dorsett, and he's that important to them.
He really adds a different dimension to this club.
Well, he's the kind of back like Eric Dickerson of the Rams or George Rogers or Wayne Wilson here. You might stop him for a while, but sooner or later he's going to break one on you.
3rd and 3 for Montana at the 42-yard line. And Joe swings it out to Bill Ring, and Bill Ring has the first down for the 49ers beyond the 45. He's knocked out of bounds at the 47 by Ricky Jackson. So there's that man, Bill Ring, one of the great overachievers in the league.
This is just a long handoff to the 49ers. He looks downfield, nothing there, and then just pumps it out in the flat here, safety valve, and has Ring running against Ricky Jackson, the linebacker, for the first down. You see a lot of that from San Francisco.
49ers offensively last week, their run-pass ratio favored the pass more than in any game this year, but they ran more often on first down than in any game. At the 48, 1st and 10. Montana to run for it, and heading out of bounds. Whitney Paul chases him out of bounds in New Orleans territory at the 47-yard line, and he picked up a good 5 as the receivers were covered well downfield.
What's happening here now is that Montana is single-handedly moving the 49ers on this drive. New Orleans has had good penetration from their defensive line. They've troubled him 3 or 4 times already, but he still rolls out, improvises, and makes some yardage.
He was out of sync a bit in last week's game. He was not in control like he had been in the previous 4. Oddly enough, he rose from 3rd to 2nd rated quarterback in the conference. Jeff Moore, number 25, is in the game. He's a good pass receiver out of the backfield. 2nd and 5. And on a reverse, here's Dwight Clark trying to turn the corner, and Clark is stopped short of a first down by about 2 yards. Good pursuit by the Saints, and in particular, Kovac and the cornerback Dave Waymer.
Well, it was Waymer that really made the play. The cornerback wasn't fooled at all. Held his ground out here. You'll see Clark behind a pulling guard with the ball. 44 Waymer will string it out. Look at him play that block by John Ayers. He's given away about 40 pounds out there and did a fine job.
Greg Stemrick comes in, the former Houston Oiler who was cut and on suspension because of the drug violations of the league. Stemrick and Vernon Perry on this team, 2 former Oilers backing up. It is 3rd and 3 at the 45. Montana flips it out to Jeff Moore. First down as he goes down the sidelines and knocked out of bounds at the 38 by Johnny Poe. Here's a man who didn't play much last week, 100%, Jeff Moore, who's a good receiver and the leading rusher last year for the Niners.
Well, he was 5th in the NFC in catches last year for the 49ers, and he gives them a little added dimension. They can bring him in and spot him with Wendell Tyler, and he catches the ball extremely well.
So it's like a surgeon. Joe Montana so far. A little bit to the left, a little reverse, and of course the runs off tackle. 1st and 10 for San Francisco on the Saint 38. And this capacity crowd has been silent so far. No wonder. Montana with enough time now gets loose, and he's got a wide open field. And he's going to run for the flag. He'll be short by a couple. Dennis Winston chased him. Bill Walsh, I think, doesn't look pleased right now.
Well, he doesn't really have a whole lot going here offensively, except for number 16, Montana. New Orleans is playing good defense. It's extremely demoralizing right now for them because they're getting good pressure on Montana. They're covering the people downfield, yet the 49ers are still making yards. What they can't do now is get flustered. They got to continue doing what they're doing because they're playing good.
There is Bum Phillips, who has really turned this ball club around. And now he feels that if the team can just win 4 of the 6 next time and then split the final 4, he can get into the playoffs with 10 and 6, and maybe he'll be better than that. 2nd and 4 at the 32 of the Saints. Pressure, Ricky Jackson pressuring Montana, gets it off to Bill Ring, who has the first down at the 25-yard line. Kovac made the hit, and they're nickel and diming the Saints so far, but the 49ers continue to move the ball, and they have a first down.
Watch Montana make things happen again here. Now, Ricky Jackson, number 57, will be on the blitz coming on the left side of your screen. Good protection right now. He's picked up by the guard Randy Cross, but Montana has to duck under and find Ring. Blitz usually means that the defense then is in man-to-man, so they're going to have to clamp down a little bit closer on those back coming out of the backfield to get this stop.
Montana is a perfect 5 for 5 for 28 yards. This is the 11th play of the drive coming up, started at the 49er 20. 1st and 10 at the 25. Bill Ring, following Bubba Parris's block, gets a couple of yards off to the left side. Jim Wilkes, the right end, and Russell Gary, the safety, make the tackle. So the 49ers come into this game and not minding at all playing away from home. They have won 6 in a row away from Candlestick Park in 12 of their last 13 games, and they love the artificial surface.
Bill Walsh thinks they're a better team on artificial surface because they're extremely fast and quick at the skill positions. Those people that catch the ball and run with it.
They won 9 straight on artificial turf. 2nd and 8 at the 23. Bill Ring and Wendell Tyler in the backfield now. Less than 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. No score. Niners with ball control. And this pass is caught by Dwight Clark at the 10-yard line. And it'll be another first down for San Francisco. You know, sooner or later, that man's going to get open.
And they want you to be in a zone because he runs down there and runs option patterns, breaks it up right there into the open spot in the zone. And Montana has it for him right on time.
Dwight Clark now 2nd in the league in receiving behind Roy Green of the Cardinals. He's caught 26 passes in the last 4 games coming into this one, and this marks the 50th straight game in which Dwight has caught a pass. So it's 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line for the 49ers. In motion is Freddie Solomon. And here's Tyler. Trapped. Way back to the 25. And he makes a fine job, fine effort for Wendell Tyler to get back to make it only a 5-yard loss. He looked like he might have been caught for a 10-yard loss.
Good penetration over on the left side here by New Orleans. Number 57, Ricky Jackson, back there taking on 2 blockers and getting Tyler to run backwards with the football. Super effort by the left linebacker Jackson.
And Jim Wilkes and Frank Watlet finally made the tackle. Frank Warren, number 73, comes in for the Saints along with Tony Elliott, 99, and number 98, Reggie Lewis. They're their pass rushers, and so they have their nickel defense in. It's 2nd and 15 at the 15. In motion is Bill Ring. Montana drills it, and it's caught at the 5-yard line. Dwight Clark again, open.
Clark again. New Orleans that time, even though they had the nickel in, no blitz. They just rushed 4 down linemen, played the zone, and he found an open spot as he does so well.
The 49ers can get a first down without scoring. They have 3rd down at about 4 right now, and that's less than a yard.
What New Orleans will want to do right now, Dick, make sure that the linebackers are in the game, get a good check on the receivers that are in there and slow them down at the line of scrimmage. That'll be important here for them.
Clark is to the left, Solomon to the right. On 3rd and 4, Montana lofts it, and it's overthrown. No penalty markers are down, so the Saints, who have had to be on defense all the way with 6:27 remaining in the first quarter, have stopped the 49ers, who will now to try to get on the board with a Ray Wersching field goal.
Wersching's last attempt in the final seconds of the Los Angeles game last week was blocked. He might say he's not thinking about it, but it'll be on his mind.
It'll be a 23-yard attempt. Wersching has missed just that one. Holding is Montana, and the kick is up. It is good. And Ray Wersching, after hitting his first 8 and missing in the last play of the game against the Rams, puts the 49ers in front with 6:24 remaining in the first quarter.
Chevrolet, taking charge.
The results are in. More Americans looked at value and put their money on Chevrolet in the 1983 model year. They made Chevrolet #1 in new car and truck sales, #1 in onboard computers, #1 in fuel injection, #1 in front drives. That's because Chevrolet provides the cars and trucks America wants and needs. In fact, over the past 6 years, Chevrolet has sold more than all the imports combined. Thanks, America.
Chevrolet,
And you.
taking charge. If you want it,
I like it.
if you really like it,
I really like it.
we can help you get it. We're GMAC.
We want it.
GMAC Financing.
GMAC has helped more people buy their new GM car or truck than anyone, with rates that make sense on models people want. All at your GM dealer.
If you really want it, we can help you get it. We're GMAC Financing.
We got it.
There's a the scoring drive, and it took over 8.5 minutes. So normally the 49ers, not a ball control team, doing it right there.
And you figure 17 plays, that points out that New Orleans really didn't make any mistakes on defense.
Wayne Wilson on the right and Kenny Duckett on the left for the Saints, and Ray Wershing will be kicking off for the 49ers, who lead it 3-0. The teams played one time last year, and that was at Candlestick Park, and the Saints beat the 49ers 23-20. It is a short kick, and it is Kenny Duckett at the 5, and Duckett is stopped at the 21-yard line. A 16-yard return. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker here at the Superdome, and we're waiting for this place to explode. We know it will sooner or later.
I think it's going to be another one of those typical NFC West games that goes right down to the wire. It seems like they all have, both coaches say that they feel this division is the toughest, and it's just going to get tougher as the season goes.
Let's take a look at the Saints offensively. Kenny Stabler, the veteran. George Rogers back as a starter with Wayne Wilson, who did a heck of a job with Rogers out. Lindsey Scott and Jeff Groth, the wide receivers, and a very superb offensive line. Hobie Brenner is the tight end. 1st and 10 at the 21 now. The Snake gives it off to George Rogers. And Rogers, with terrific acceleration, gets the ball out to about the 25-yard line, and Dwight Hicks makes the tackle. Jim Stuckey is starting at left end with John Hardy out of there. Pete Kugler and Dwayne Board up front, and the linebackers, Harper and Turner outside. Ricky Ellison, the rookie, and Jack Reynolds, the veteran, inside. And Tim Collier again starts for Ronnie Lott, who is out. Bobby Leopold, the converted linebacker, is at strong safety. Eric Wright and Dwight Hicks at their usual positions. 2nd down and 6 at the 25 for Kenny Stabler, who has 5 TD passes, 6 interceptions this year. In the air for the first time, and he goes to his tight end, Hobie Brenner, who has become a favorite of his, as I guess all tight ends are.
Possession type guy, great big fella. He's about 6'5", 240 pounds, and Bum Phillips says he's not a good dancer, but he'll dance every dance. He uses his body extremely well, shields the ball from the defender.
Tina Turner defended him right there. A pickup of about 9 yards. Call it 3rd and 1, and it's a long one for the Saints. 5:05 remaining in the first quarter. 3-0. The 49ers lead the Saints. Battle of 2 of the 3 leaders in the NFC West. Here's Rogers, trapped, and he is stopped, fumbles, and the 49ers feel that they've recovered, and they have. George Rogers fumbles on 3rd and 1, and the 49ers have recovered in New Orleans territory, and the first big turnover of this game.
If I'm not mistaken, a fine play here by Hacksaw Reynolds, number 64, who got good penetration. I don't know whether he was on a blitz or just read this extremely well. And look at the penetration he got. Took on the blockers there, jammed it up, forced the ball inside, and then you see the ball come away. But Hacksaw Reynolds, with a good read, got back there and blew that play up.
Dwight Hicks also on the force. Eric Wright recovered it. So it's 1st and 10 for the 49ers at the 27 of the Saints, leading 3-0. Montana looking downfield, finds his favorite, Dwight Clark, still going inside the 15-yard line, and a 1st down at the 12. Frank Watlet and Russell Gary, the 2 safeties, bring down Dwight Clark, who has led the NFL the last 2 years in receiving.
This was a planned scramble this time, and it wasn't planned to be a scramble. It's just a planned rollout. Watch him come outside here, Montana, as you watch Clark come across the middle. He's reading Montana. Body language, the 2 of them have. They've always seemed to have it. Montana rolls out and looks right away for Clark and seems to always know where he is.
A 14-yard pickup, Montana to Clark. 1st and 10 at the 13. Solomon to the right. Draw play. Wendell Tyler hit at the 10-yard line and stopped right there. Derlin Moore and Bruce Clark up front made the tackle on Wendell Tyler, whose biggest day as a professional against the Saints back in '79 when he gained 141 yards.
For a defensive team, this is a tough spot on the field, not because you're down in the shadow of your goalpost, but the fact that now the offense can get a 1st down without getting into the end zone on you. You just as soon have them get to the 10-yard line originally, so they only have 4 more downs. But San Francisco, where they are, they just now have to go to the 2-yard line or 2.5 for a 1st down.
2nd down, 6. They're at the 9. Tyler, ganged up.
They better stop trying Ricky Jackson over there because he just made another sensational play.
Thing about Rickey Jackson, remember a couple of years ago, he was really bothered by a lack of recognition. Hugh Green, who was the big name player on the University of Pittsburgh team. And then, of course, Lawrence Taylor is the class of '81, but now he's strictly a team man. He wants to win. He's not so concerned with the recognition thing.
And he says he can take some chances now. Perhaps he did on that last play because he had great penetration. He knows the defense better. They know him better. He knows where everyone is. And he said, we just all work well together. We've been together now for about 2 or 3 years.
That's a 5-yard loss, and it sets the ball back to the 14. It is 3rd and 11 for Joe Montana. 4-man front with Reggie Lewis and Tony Elliott in there, and Frank Warren for the Saints. Montana fires it, and it's deflected away. Frank Watlett, I think, got a hand on it, but Waymer was covering Dwight Clark like a blanket.
And the blitz was on. Plenty of pressure on Montana. He couldn't set and throw like he wanted to, and had to release before he had to. Watch it here. Looks good right now, but then it starts to break down, and here comes Jackson 57. It forces him to throw early. Dwight Clark in the end zone and well covered.
And Ray Wersching will try to put the 49ers up 6-0. This will be a 31-yard attempt. And with Montana holding, Ray does just that. So Wersching is 2 for 2, and now 10 of 11 on the season with a 32-yard field goal. And with 2:22 remaining in the first quarter, it's the Niners 6 and the Saints nothing.
Chevrolet, taking charge.
Make your move to Chevrolet's new Celebrity.
Move into more.
Move into the comfort of more passenger room than 91 out of 95 import cars. Move into Celebrity and the traction of front drive.
Move into more.
Try to find any other front drive automobile that gives you more passenger room for less.
Chevrolet,
And you
taking charge.
Your family's not completely protected from the cold unless your home's properly protected too. True Value Hardware stores can help with 3M weather strips and caulk. They'll keep out drafts and prevent heat loss around doors and windows. Stop cold air from getting in under the doors with the MD Seal-O-Matic door bottom. And keep pipes from freezing with Wrap-On electric heat tape, complete with built-in thermostat. Get home winterizers now at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
It's 6-0, and the Saints fans say it can happen here. Right now they're trailing 6-0, and that may not be too bad if they can get on the board, because the 49ers have had the ball most of this quarter. Wayne Wilson on the left, and Duckett is on the right, and Duckett, who's second in the NFC in kickoff returns, takes it out at the 2-yard line. And brings it out to the 20. Milt McCall makes the tackle for the 49ers, an 18-yard return. Duckett returned the kickoff to set up that last and winning drive for the Saints against the Falcons last week. And a pretty fine wide receiver at that.
New Orleans has got to feel pretty good right now, Dick, that they've escaped the fact that the 49ers haven't scored a touchdown, and 2 times they've been inside the 10-yard line. It's only 6-0, so New Orleans can stay right with the game plan they started the game with.
Chevrolet, taking charge.
Here comes the hottest selling Chevrolet today. The fun-to-drive front-drive Cavalier. Fire up 2 liters of electronically fuel-injected fun and experience more horsepower than the top 3 imports. The minute you feel Cavalier perform, you'll know what makes Cavalier the hottest selling Chevrolet today.
Chevrolet,
And you.
taking charge.
I'll tell you, trying to get cultured isn't easy. We just went to the opera and we didn't understand a word.
Yeah, but that big guy in those tights sure could sing.
Well, at least we still drink a very civilized beer. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great.
But us impresarios drink it because it's less filling.
We can't afford to get filled up. Tomorrow night, we're going to the ballet.
Yeah, I sure hope they do it in English.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
49ers with a record of 4-2, lost their opener to Philadelphia, won 4 in a row before the Rams beat them last week. And the Saints starting out at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Rogers, who fumbled the last time he carried, moves it out 2 yards to the 22-yard line. Right in the middle of that pile is Ricky Ellison, who helped make the tackle. Ellison is playing very well. He is a draft choice out of USC in his 5th round, and he had his number changed from 69 to number 50. There have been a lot of that on the 49ers this year, Wayne.
Yeah, Ellison has really come along, though, for them. He was their number 5 draft choice. Blanchard Montgomery, another inside linebacker, was drafted earlier than him, but they played about even during the preseason and training camp, and Ellison actually won the inside spot playing next to Jack Reynolds now. And he's played very well indeed. Started from the start at USC and has been a starter since the opening game in San Francisco. 2nd and 8 at the 23 for Kenny Stabler. Under pressure, Fred Dean is trying to get him, and he gets the pass off, and it's caught by Hobie Brenner. The tight end brings it out to the 37-yard line, and a first down for the Saints. Eric Wright makes the tackle. So there's another 16 on the field that can move around a little bit and get out of trouble. Kenny Stabler that time, with big pressure from the 49ers, rolled outside and found Brenner, the tight end, who was working against Bobby Leopold, a converted linebacker. Watch it break down for Stabler here. He'll get out of trouble. Get it to Brenner, who uses his body, keeps the body between the ball and the defender again, and there was a penalty on that play also, I believe, on Leopold. The penalty, Gene Barth, the referee. It'll be 1st and 10 now at the 38-yard line. .120 remaining in the first quarter. George Rogers and Fred Dean and Ricky Ellison bring him down at the 41-yard line and a pickup of about 4. Tampa Bay against St. Louis, 2 teams struggling. Buccaneers in front. Pittsburgh. They're starting to score a few points now, even with Terry Bradshaw out of there. That's just in the first quarter. Battling for first place in the AFC Central. Bud Grant always seems to get it done, doesn't he? Every year, year in, year out. Leading in that division in San Diego over New England 7-0. So after a 3-yard gain, it is 2nd and 7 for the Saints. Less than a minute to go in the first quarter. They're at the 41. Kenny Stabler under pressure. Gets it off, and it's caught at the 50, and penalty markers it down. Lindsey Scott grabs it at midfield and at the 48, and Tim Collier all over him. They have been called as well. Here's Gene Barth.
Defensive pass interference, 47, penalty refused, first down.
That was just a great throw by Stabler. He was looking over to his left all the time. Finally, at the last minute, came back here, goes to Scott. You see Collier up over, contact with his chest as he went for the ball. I don't know about that call. So the Saints with their biggest penetration at the 47 of San Francisco. 1st and 10, 36 seconds to go, and an audible called by Kenny Stabler. Gives it to Rogers. Hit once. And brings it up to the 42-yard line. Hacksaw Reynolds makes the tackle. And right now, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick Billy Sims is back after missing 3 games for the Lions. They put him into this short yardage situation, and he scored a touchdown against Chicago. Lions 7, Bears nothing. Back to Dick and Wayne.
Thank you, Brent. So Billy Sims back in action. We saw George Rogers pick up 5. It is 2nd and 5 at the 42. 6-0. The 49ers lead, and the first quarter is going to come to an end. And the gun sounds. And the New Orleans Saints on the march here. But after 1 quarter of play, it's San Francisco leading New Orleans 6-0.
Chevy Tough is taking charge. Moisture and road salt are murder on a pickup. But Tough Chevy S10 comes with built-in corrosion-fighting zinc-coated steel to help guard against rust. While Ford Ranger uses about 93 square feet, Chevy S10 gives you almost 3 times more zinc-treated steel, about 277 square feet. For year-round protection, Chevy S10's got you covered with tough corrosion-fighting steel. Chevy Tough is taking charge.
We're up 15. We got this game won.
Yeah, you got to buy a light beer from Miller.
Yeah, Lights Philly. One out to go. Yeah, what can he do to us now? Hey, I'll keep the change. Here's Rodney!
Any pinch hitters left? Here I am.
Come on, lady!
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, wait a minute. This game isn't over yet. I caught that ball.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chevrolet. America is on the move, and Chevrolet is supplying the wheel. Chevrolet and you taking charge.
Thank you.
And by GMAC, the financing people from General Motors.
This is Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker at the Superdome in New Orleans as we start the second quarter. The 49ers lead 6-0 and have dominated the time of possession thanks to a turnover and a long drive at the first quarter. It is 2nd and 5 at the 42, and Wayne Wilson dives forward for a first down for the Saints. Here is a do-it-all running back for New Orleans in the absence of George Rogers, who is out for several games with a sprained ligament of his knee. He rushed for 100 yards in 3 consecutive games. No other Saint running back had ever done it, but now he takes on a different role, Wayne.
Well, he does. He's a blocker now and a receiver. For Rogers, he was originally drafted by Bum Phillips when Bum was at Houston, and Bum had to cut him in the last cut of the year.
1st and 10 at the 35. Stabler going up top and overthrows. Hobie Brenner, the tight end. Bobby Leopold, who was the converted linebacker, was defending.
We were talking about Wilson earlier, Dick. Let's finish that. Bum Phillips did cut him the last cut of the year when he was at Houston, and then Wilson came over here and picked up with New Orleans. And then when Bum Phillips came as the coach here, Wayne Wilson said, I knew that I really had to put out in training camp. I wanted to prove to him that he made a mistake by cutting me in Houston, and he has certainly done that.
Well, in Houston, they had a veteran club, and he didn't have much experience. But right here with the young team, he fit in.
Well, they brought Boobie Clark in, remember, the big fullback, and he had the experience, and it was just a numbers game for him.
2nd down and 10 at the 35 for the Saints. Trailing 6-0. George Rogers trying to get ahead of steam is knocked out of bounds, and another Saint first down at the 21-yard line. Freddie Dean and Tim Collier chased him.
Kind of an old crossbuck thing right here. Wilson goes one way, Rogers goes the other. Bounces it out here. He came back after a knee problem earlier in the year. Rogers was hurt in the second game of the year against the Rams, back at full strength now.
And don't forget, in that first game of the year, he gained 206 yards against the Cardinals. That was the first time he had gained 200 or more yards, so he got off to a good start this year.
He's slimmer and in better shape than he's been in his career.
1st and 10 for the Saints on the 49er 22. Pass, Lindsey Scott. That's Jeff Groth, not Scott, but Jeff Groth at the 10-yard line, and right in Eric Wright's territory. We were talking, Eric Wright, about that kind of a play, weren't we?
Well, Eric Wright knew when we sat down with him yesterday that he was going to be busy because number 16 is left-handed. Most passers, of course, in National Football League throw to the right because they're right-handed, but not Stabler. Eric knew he'd be in for a busy day, and he's got a good one to take care of right there, and Jeff Groth, he's the possession guy for the Saints.
1st and 10 for the Saints on the 11-yard line. Tyrone Young, number 89, is in the game, and another audible. He is a tight end. Stabler going for Young. It was against Miami that Tyrone Young caught a similar pass for a touchdown. He is 6'6", and they like that alley-oop play. And, of course, our viewers out on the West Coast with R.C. Owens remember that kind of play. Tim Collier defending, but he's awfully tall.
Now, Tim Collier, the guy he's working against at cornerback, number 47, starting for Ronnie Lott there, is an exceptionally good cover man. He can run and cover with anybody, perhaps as good as they have on the 49ers. He doesn't have Lott's physical ability as far as tackling and things like that, but he can cover.
Second down and 10 at the 11, and they move Tyrone Young out to the left. And here's Wayne Wilson, who's tripped up by Keena Turner. And a fine play by Turner, who penetrated and got a hand on Wayne Wilson and prevented what looked like to be a decent gain by Wayne off the left side.
Looked like he may have had something. Had he got around the corner, it was just going to be him and Jack Reynolds. Keena Turner, number 58, the outside right linebacker on the right side. He'll come down low, reach in there, and trip him up. Turner having another good year.
49ers with 6 new players in on defense in their pass defense alignment. So with the loss of a yard, it is 3rd and 11 at the 12. Rogers, Wilson, and Wilson is hit at the 12, and it'll be a 4th down situation. So both defenses, this time it was Keena Turner and Dwight Hicks, have closed the door when the offense was threatening to score, and it'll be 4th down, and so Morton Anderson comes on out of Bum Phillips' Bible.
Young Anderson there won the game last week against Atlanta with a field goal. Great leg.
28-yard attempt. Anderson has not missed inside the 40 in his 2 years with the Saints, and he keeps the record perfect. 11 for 11 inside the 40. So Morton Anderson puts the Saints on the scoreboard, and with 12:04 remaining in the second quarter, it's a 6-3 ball game.
We are an explorer, a farmer, a miner, and an insurance company. We're a pipeline, a truck line, a gold mine, and a leasing company. We're a builder, a printer, a logger, and an energy company. We are more than 41,000 men and women working in 18 different industries all across America. We are Southern Pacific. We also run a railroad.
Monday on his season premiere, will Newhart write a sexy screen siren's life story?
Her love life is highly exaggerated.
You think so?
I hope so.
Monday.
And a pretty good drive by the New Orleans Saints. 12 plays using up nearly 5.5 minutes, and capped by Morton Anderson's 28-yard field goal, and it is now 6-3, and Anderson will be kicking off. He's out of Michigan State. He got hurt on the opening kickoff of his rookie year last year against the Cardinals. Dana McLemore and Bill Ring is back, and it's McLemore at the 5. And McLemore is hit right about the 20-yard line. And a penalty flag is down. Jimmy Rogers and Vernon Perry make the stop. Gene Barth will tell us what the penalty's all about. Both teams come in with pretty fine defenses. And it is a holding penalty against the 49ers. San Francisco number 2 overall in the NFC. 49ers with the best rushing defense. The Saints the best rushing defense in the conference.
Illegal block in the back. Number 89, junior run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Earl Cooper in what has become a familiar call now. A legal block. So the 49ers will start it out 1st and 10 when we come back to the Superdome in New Orleans with the score 6-3 San Francisco.
Nice to see you again. Nice to be back.
Come to a Sheraton show place.
Sheridan, you've got
You're
taste.
gonna love every inch of the place. We've got taste. Taste the Sheraton show
You've got
place
style.
We've
Taste
got
Sheraton style worldwide on your next business trip. Call 800-325-3535.
We've got taste, we've got taste, we've got taste.
Sheraton, your style makes the difference.
You know, I've loved jeans all my life. Ever since I was a kid in dungarees. I thought bell-bottoms could save the world. And designer jeans fit the real me. But the prices didn't. That's when I found Hager jeans. I think they're the best fitting jeans I've ever worn, and the price makes sense. With Hager, I can afford to keep myself in great fitting jeans, and Tex here in 10-gallon hats.
Last week, Bill Walsh's team had poor field position throughout most of the game, and Bill told us a lot of it was on poor fielding of punts. Right now, 1st and 10 at the 10 as a result of a penalty. Montana 8 of 10 for 64 yards. Going up top, and it's intercepted by Russell Gary. And Gary at the 20-yard line. Inside the 15. Second interception of the year for Russell Gary of Nebraska.
I believe Montana was going for Jeff Moore, who had run a circle pattern coming out of the backfield. There he is, Moore, number 25. The ball was just overthrown by Montana, and Russell Gary makes a big play for the Saints.
Dwight Clark. And Russell Gary, who was out with a hamstring on a 20-yard return of the interception. 1st and 10, George Rogers with Wayne Wilson blocking. Gets inside the 10-yard line. And a pickup of about 4 yards on the play. So as a result of that turnover, and for Joe Montana, it is only his 5th interception of the season. The New Orleans Saints in a position to take the lead.
Keep in mind that Gary returned that ball to almost the 13-yard line, so New Orleans, again, like the 49ers earlier, can get a first down before they get in the end zone.
11:15 remaining in the second quarter, and the Saints threaten. Penalty flag is down, and the 30-second clock expired, so we'll have a delay of the game call against the Saints.
That doesn't happen to New Orleans very often, Dick, because Ken Stabler calls his own plays out there, so he doesn't have to wait for one to come in.
Kenny Stabler, we were talking to Bum Phillips yesterday about the togetherness this club has. He says the key to it all is Kenny.
He says that he's got us all in the palm of his hands. He says, I love close football games because I got Stabler as my quarterback. He says he's better than having a coach on the field because he can play.
We're checking for a malfunction in the 30-second clock.
Well, it doesn't happen to Kenny after all, perhaps.
It did seem like they got out of the huddle in pretty good shape and got out there and got that ball snapped. It may have jumped 10 seconds on him, and I think that's what Bum wants to find out.
And while we're waiting for them to figure out the clock story, let's bring up to date on some scores. Miami and the New York Jets 7-7 in the second quarter.
With a malfunction in a 30-second clock, there is no penalty.
Minnesota leading Houston 17-7, and the capacity crowd loves that call. San Diego over New England 14-3 in the second quarter.
Do you think they had to bring a watchmaker in to find out if there was or was not a malfunction? How'd they find out so fast?
That was in a hurry, didn't they?
Yes, it was. Bum was right. He was on top of it.
So instead of a 5-yard loss, we'll replay the down. It'll be 2nd and 6 at the 9-yard line. Eugene Goodlow, number 88, Kenny Duckett, 83, are in the game at wide receiver, and Larry Hardy is a tight end now at number 87. Goodlow is split to the right. Duckett inside him. Stabler, wobbly knees, fires incomplete. The pass was intended for Wayne Wilson, and Willie Harper, among others, defending on the play, the linebacker. It'll be 3rd down. You don't want Kenny Stabler to have to run too much, do you?
Well, he's not going to. He'll just make sure he doesn't, but he will get out of trouble and do what it takes. And that time he rolled out of a problem and looked downfield and saw Wilson on a linebacker, Willie Harper, and tried to get it to him, but didn't really have it on the money because he was throwing on the run.
Tina Turner with a pretty good rush on the play. 3rd and 6 at the 9. Groth, Duckett, and Goodlow. Wide receivers in there. Pass incomplete. Looked like it was intended for either Goodlow or Groth. They were crossing in front of each other. And it was the kind of a play that I think Kenny Stabler takes a second look and said, well, something was wrong there.
Receivers extremely close together, but keep in mind how many times now he is going to the left side. He definitely favors it.
So here's Morton Anderson, who's now 12 of 15 on the year. He made good on a 28-yard field goal earlier in this quarter. And with Guido Merkins holding, will try to tie the game up. It'll be a 26-yard attempt. Just under 11 minutes to go in the first half. This kick is up. It is good, and we have a tie game. So the defenses have closed when they've had to, and the field goal kickers hold center stage. And with 10:52 to go in the first half, we're all tied at 6-all.
Bigger engines were easy on oil, but today's smaller, higher revving engines are tougher. They can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. That's why there's Castrol. Tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So use Castrol, because if you make things too hard on your engine could make things hard on you. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Back in '69, Subaru was pretty much alone in introducing front-wheel drive. In '75, with on-demand four-wheel drive, we were alone. And now with turbo traction, turbo plus on-demand four-wheel drive and automatic transmission, we're alone again. And we don't plan to be part of the crowd in the future either. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
There's our story here in the second quarter. Despite the fact that the Saints got 3 out of it to tie the game, they did have the ball 1st and 10 at the 49er 13 and couldn't get in the end zone.
Both with turnovers. 49ers with a fumble, Saints with an interception, but it added up to just 3 points.
McLemore on the right, Bill Ring on the left, and Morton Anderson to kick off. And high kick, end over end, and it is McLemore at the goal line. Brings it out to the 21-yard line. Tackled by Jimmy Rogers. The 49ers go on offense again, and when they do, they'll bring it out to the 21. When we come back here at the Superdome in New Orleans, timeout.
Of all the economy cars in America, many have front-wheel drive traction. But of all those front-wheel drive cars, only these 4 have a flat engine profile with an extremely low center of gravity for outstanding handling and traction. And every single one of them is a Subaru. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
There's more for your car during Sears National Automotive Sale. Like our lowest price in 3 years on the Die-Hard. Save $20 on the replacement battery more people have confidence in. Only $49.99 with trade-in.
And save 30% on weather-wise steel-belted all-season radials. Now as low as $39.99. It's our largest savings ever.
Heavy-duty shocks are only $9.88 each installed.
There's more for your car.
Confidence installed day and night.
There's more for your life at Sears.
He dominated college basketball as few have. Now he faces the ultimate test, the NBA. The Ralph Sampson era begins in 2 weeks on CBS Sports.
Joe Montana brings out the 49ers 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Wendell Tyler now has Roger Craig in the backfield for the first time in the game. And Montana going up top, 1st down, and he's got Freddie Solomon out of bounds. Russell Gary knocks him there, so the big play man, Freddie Solomon, in his 9th year, wide open.
Solomon came into this game averaging over 20 yards a catch for the 49ers. He has been their deep threat. Runs a corner pattern here. Saints had a blitz on. It was picked up well by the offensive line and the running backs of the 49ers, and Montana had time to get it out there.
There is Roger Craig, who was the first pick for the 49ers. He was taken on the 2nd round and the 2nd leading rusher, but averaging over 3 yards a carry. They have high hopes for number 33 in motion, Roger Craig. 1st and 10 at the 46, and Tyler is caught behind the line of scrimmage. It was Reggie Lewis. And it was Reggie Lewis who went to the same high school as Wendell Tyler out in Los Angeles. So the two know each other very well indeed as you look at the defensive unit together on the sidelines for San Francisco.
Reggie Lewis just in his second year with New Orleans. A 28-year-old rookie last year. He was the oldest rookie in the National Football League.
He played in the Canadian League, led him in sacks 2 years ago. Second down and 11 at the 45. 10 minutes to go in the first half. In motion is Eason Ramson for the 49ers. Montana under siege. And that's the first sack of the game, and it's Rob Nairn, number 55.
New Orleans with a higher frequency of blitzes than most any team in the National Football League, and they brought them all that time. It looked like a jailbreak in on Montana back there. Here it is again, ground level. Nairn coming in. No one picks him up, and he's right over the top of Montana.
Coming into the game, the Saints were second to the Raiders in the NFL for quarterback sacks. That's their 27th. A 7-yard loss. It is 3rd and 18 now, back at the 38-yard line. Montana wants it back. And a penalty flag is down. The pass is caught by Freddie Solomon, who will have the first down unless there is a penalty against San Francisco. And let's wait and see, and it is holding. And Derlin Moore was right there with Gene Barth to make sure it was the right call.
The way it looks down there right now, the 49ers are going to have a few of these penalties today because the New Orleans front three and the front four, when they have the nickel in, are getting all kinds of pressure on Montana.
68 offense, holding, still third down.
One of the better pass protectors on the offensive line, that was John Ayers holding there.
One of the best pass protectors in the league, number 68, John Ayers, working against Derlin Moore, number 74. You can see what happens, hands out. And he shoves him on by.
Well, now Montana faces 3rd and 28. Back at his 26-yard line, Bobby Johnson. And an audible there by Montana. Number 34 is a nickel back. A lot of yards for Montana. Flushed out of the pocket and down. And a penalty flag is also down. It was Tony Elliott and Reggie Lewis combining on the sack. And another penalty. This is after a 4-yard sack by Lewis and Elliott. Another penalty against San Francisco. And now the crowd has turned up several notches here at the Superdome.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 16. It was a dead ball foul. The down counts.
It is 4th down, and now the 49ers are a bit unraveled at this point.
Unsportsmanlike on the quarterback, who is a true sportsman.
Tom Morris will punt from the end zone, and he had his best day in a 49er uniform last week. Jeff Groth is a single safety back at midfield. It is not a long kick, and Groth on the run at the 45. And Groth brings it to the 37-yard line. Richard Blackmore makes the tackle, and Montana and the 49ers are not at all pleased right now. A 34-yard punt, and the Saints, with 8:57 to go in the first half and a tie game, will go on offense, 1st and
10. This amazing innovation from Subaru overcomes 2 problems: bad weather and the hassle of shifting gears. It combines the extra measure of safety and traction of on-demand 4-wheel drive with the ease of an automatic transmission. Now there's 4-wheel drive anybody can drive. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
When you see what's on the card at a lot of places in Atlantic City, it may seem pretty hit and miss.
It's not that way at the Sands as Jerry the Bull Martin from Philadelphia locks horns with South Jersey's Richie Cates in a 10-round light heavyweight bout Wednesday, October 26th. When it comes to boxing at the Sands, we don't play games.
A terrific pass rush by the New Orleans Saints. 2 sacks. And now the Saints have good field position. Last time they had the ball at the 49er 13. Could only manage a field goal. Now they have the ball at the San Francisco 37, where it's 1st and 10 for Ken Stabler and company. Wayne Wilson, the blocking back, and Stabler's pass is caught by Eugene Goodlow. Eugene Goodlow, who Bum Phillips told us will be the best receiver of a pretty good group by the end of this year. He led the Canadian League last year with 100 receptions.
Stabler looked everybody off that time, looked over to the left where he'd been going most of the afternoon, and then came back and hit Goodlow to the right.
11-yard pickup, 1st down at the 26 of San Francisco. Joe Montana trying to get the offense settled down on the sideline. 8:51 remaining in the first half. 6-6 the score. Wilson trapped, and it's Dwayne Board who was right there. So the veteran from North Carolina A&T.
He's upset a little bit. You know, he hasn't had a whole lot of chance to sit back there and throw comfortably this afternoon. Got a penalty on him after that last sack. I think they've saved it 4th down in the truck.
A loss of 3 yards, so we'll call it 2nd and 13 at the 29. Pass to Goodlow. He's got it. Penalty flag down. A fine catch by Eugene Goodlow. Tim Collier was defending on the play, and it's 1st and goal at the 5.
Stabler with good time now. A blitz here by the 49ers. He throws fairly early. And it's right on the money here for Goodlow, who's covered by Collier, number 47, who also picked up the penalty.
So 2 passes to Goodlow for a total of 35 yards. He has not caught more than 2 passes in any game this year.
Stabler just kind of throwing it out to an area because he had to release it a little bit sooner than he wanted to. Great touch on it.
They started at the 37-yard line of the 49ers. 1st and goal at the 5. Rogers and Wilson. The up back is Wilson. 2 tight ends. Brenner and Hardy. Here is George Rogers. He is stopped short, and a fumble. It is a fumble. I believe the Saints have recovered. And now they're going to say that the whistle had blown before the fumble. So Rogers brought it to the 1-yard line.
Straight ahead blocking now here with the lead blocker Wilson, number 30. Rogers into the line. Watch the ball. And it was out early and into the end zone.
Brad Edelman
blocked. Keep it going. Let's see who came up with it. Bobby Leopold is number 45, and he looks like he has possession.
Wayne Wilson and Hokie Gaijan are now the running backs, and it's Wayne Wilson over the top, touchdown. The 5th touchdown rushing of the year for Wayne Wilson, and the Saints lead for the first time.
Everybody digs out in front and goes low. And Wilson up over the top, hoping to get by the scrape of the linebackers, and he does just into the end zone.
And Morton Anderson with Guido Merkins holding. With 7 minutes and 34 seconds to go in the first half. The conversion is good. Well, they're not wearing the paper bags on their heads, saying ain'ts anymore. It's 13-6 with plenty of time to go in the second quarter.
As a relief. Great. Will you just let me finish? Why? You never let me finish.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Let me finish that for you, Sparky.
Back in '69, Subaru was pretty much alone in introducing front-wheel drive. In 75, with on-demand four-wheel drive, we were alone. And now with turbo traction, turbo plus on-demand four-wheel drive and automatic transmission, we're alone again. And we don't plan to be part of the crowd in the future either. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Monday, Jill St. John enters the world of Emerald Point.
Came to the right place.
As Hillary is connected to the murder and Celia suffers a tragic accident.
Daddy!